Hi there, everybody. This is going to be very quick, extremely quick, because I am going to have to run in about 20, 30 minutes. Got to run on up to, got to run into the city with, with the River Cats. Apparently they're retiring, so I'm going to have to run on into the city last minute. But I thought that I would, you know, try this out for one more time because I am going to be getting rid of this. This thing costs $127 a month, and when you aren't earning a lot of money on social media with the, eventual takeover of AI and all that all that jazz, it eventually this whole and kind of this whole setup here is pretty worthless in my opinion, and just how this whole kind of with StreamYard, like I probably can't, I'll use the free version, but just the benefits of the paid version, the benefits of the paid version of StreamYard, which is $127 a month, and I thought that subscription was terminated about a year or two ago, but the person who was supposed to terminate it didn't. So I've been left with this, with just this financial drain of an institution known as StreamYard. Not a head Matthew Wilson, but StreamYard. And so it is so this is going to be the last time that I'm going to be using the paid version. Thought I would use some of the some of the few benefits that you get before it goes, including a custom profile like that. You don't have to have all of this jazz everywhere, being annoying and being a pain. And then it's not just the countdown that I can do, but I have like some old files here from some trials I did, stuff like this.
You go.
You idiot! You spent your entire year's budget in a month. Your department's broke. Oh no! Wait, I think I've got the perfect solution. You'd better, because those
Best drivers
won't work for free. No!
So stuff like that. So, I could just play those kinds of custom clips. That's put on there for some weird reason. Homer Simpson being Hugo Mobility and stuff like this.
This is Bob.
Oh, that's Bob. And then there's this. I tried that once and it completely failed. And there's like different backgrounds that I could like put in. So I could like, here we go. So this is the one that I normally use, but then there's this one. There's this one. That's a generic one, I think. This one, which is actually pretty cool. This one, which is called Purple Rain. Purple Rain, Purple Rain. Pink Waves, Tropical Summer, Moonlit Asteroid, Mango, Fruit Salad, Yummy Yummy, Blue Lagoon, Confetti Light. So there's Confetti Light. And then there's, I'm moving this all around the place, Confetti Dark. Then there's Green Scribbles, Blue Scribbles, SY Billboard, Bubbles Dark, Green Waves, Bubbles Dark again, Golden Sunset, Dark Particles, Orange Ocean, and Tilting Tiles, which actually that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool with that. So, and then, I could have like sounds, like if I wanted, people to go, great news, I am going to be terminating my subscription with, I'm going to be terminating my subscription with, StreamYard. Except it's not working. It's supposed to be heartbeat fast, but it's not working. This is why it's so useless for $127. This is supposed to be applause intense. You know, this is supposed to be. Yeah. This is supposed to be. It's yeah. So applause. Yeah, applause intense. That didn't work. Bounce. This is supposed to be bounce. Drum roll bongos. Gong. That doesn't work. Well, apparently there's a boo large. Could do that. There's punch. Laughing stuff. And and none of it actually works. And then there's supposed to be like background music. Which is not working. It's it's not working. So that's that. And I used to be able to invite guests onto the show. So I could, like, say for an example, copy and paste this, put it into the chat like that, and then bada bing, bada bam, bada boom, I could bring guests onto the show. Could bring in a image file, so I could bring up, well, what's a good photo? What's a good photo that I should bring up? That's actually pretty cool. Like, say for example, could bring up this V set here. Look at that. Look at that. There's a V set here. And then if you wanted to do that, I know that I can do this with the free version, but we're going to try out everything because we want to. And then there's video files, which none of them work. None of them are really working. Because I don't really upload any videos. This is, here we go. This is from, this was about 2-3 years ago. This is at Kalawa Station. And then we got, on the far right, you got Camilla Drover, who's the Deputy Secretary for Transport for New South Wales, and then you got Joe Halen, who was then the Transport Minister, Matt Cross, who's the member for Davidson on the left, who's local MP for Kalawa. You can see that there used to be the orange up on the top, so you know that this is an old clip. I literally just bumped into this by accident. And then that's Simon Lennon, who was the councillor for Gordon Ward at the time, but now he's a private citizen. And then we had like a few other. Here we go. We had like some Sydney train staff. Joe's old press secretary there. He was pretty cool. There we go. So that's everyone there. So, I can do stuff like that. I can also put in an extra camera. I can share myself an extra camera. So I can go over to here. Look, there we go. That's me just there in there. So there's that. Then there's then I could share my screen as well. So look at that. Here we go. So you can see what I'm doing. Hello. And then goodbye. And then I'm gonna have to stop the screen and then share. I'm gonna share a different screen now. I'm going to share this one over here. No, it's not going to let me. Your browser has blocked your screen. Okay, then. Well done. Fantastic. Great move. Well done, Safari. And then I had all kinds of banners, you know. Hello, hello. Oh, this was all the way back when the strikes finished. This was about 3 years ago. Obvious. This was when I read out the Australian Constitution live on here for like, well, what felt like an eternity and a half. I am no longer cheap to have. I'm no longer cheap. I now have 2 screens. Whoop-de-doo. This was when Labor. This was during the 2025 election. That this would have been probably 2023, and then this was just in case. I had that just in case something happened. Then this was yeah, this was the 2023 state election. That was that. And then there was this, and then this, and then I'd like countdown 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then a thanks for watching. Yeah, and then this was still not a problem. Still a problem. Live stream will start shortly. There we go. And then there was, yeah, so that's everything with that. I also have a teleprompter now. Okay, so I can talk without having to stutter a single word. If I just do that, and then I can just go, okay, so I can talk without having to stutter a single word now. How about that? The marvels of technology. Well, that didn't work properly, which is just so. Here we go. Okay, so I can talk without having to stutter a single word now. How about that? The marvels of technology. And I still didn't do it right. But yeah, so that is there's a private chat in case if I wanted to say, that guest that I've had on just now, he's acting like a complete idiot, am I right? So yeah. But other than that, that's pretty much, other than recording like 50 hours, which I went over that limit years ago, that's pretty much it. There's not that much going on here. So it just means that if I ever bother doing this again, which chances are at the moment I probably won't, you'll be stuck with this and this. So I will be well and truly sponsored without earning any money. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, right. So what I'll do is that I will leave you with one more image file. Let me see. Let me get a good one. Let me get a good one. What would be a good one? What would be a good, a good favorite? Oh, this, I just have this on my file for some weird reason. We're going to have another VSET. Here we go. Have a look at that. So that is the original VSET back in 1970. How about that? How cool is that? and there's only 5 people here to talk, to respond whether this is actually cool or not, and nobody's responding. But yeah, they really need to replace the Epping station lifts. I fully agree. It's kind of a lot of the lifts that were built in the late 2000s, not just Epping, but also other stations as well, really starting to break down, and it's incredibly difficult when there's no other backup lifts. Like most, like say for example, Central, and also Central and a few other places as well. They now have, and all the metro stations, they have more than one lift at every single one, and they do that for a reason. It's not just because, even at the most quietest stations on the metro, they have 2 or more lifts, for each platform, from the concourse down to the platforms. It's exactly to make sure that we don't end up like Epping. Like it's harder with Epping Macquarie University, Macquarie Park North Ride, and Chatswood, because they were already built beforehand. But all the, purpose-built metro stations, that's exactly what they did. So I'm gonna get going. I have to run. I have to run due to calls. So I will see you all. Well, actually, I will leave you with my favorite, this. Bye.
You go.
You idiot! You spent your entire year's budget in a month. Your department's broke. Oh no! Wait, I think I've got the perfect solution. You'd better, because those
Bus drivers.
won't work for free.